The Bible definitely calls us to be good stewards of everything that God provides us, because God is our provider, right? And so today we're going to be talking on the topic of stewardship. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Amanda Azzarito, and I lead an international real estate organization and am a faith-based entrepreneur that teaches other female entrepreneurs how to do business God's way. So if that is something that interests you, you're definitely going to want to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification to get more videos like this. Let's get straight into it. Point number 1, which is that everything belongs to God. Let's look at this passage, which is Psalms 24:1. To Yahweh belong the earth and all it contains, the world and all who live there. It is He who laid its foundations on the seas, on the flowing waters fixed it firm. This is just a reminder that God is the one that created heaven and earth. He is the owner of all things, and we are simply the stewards, the ones to manage what God owns. Which brings us to point number 2, that we are the managers. A very famous parable in the Bible is the parable of the talents. And this is a really good example of showing the importance of us stewarding what God has given us. So let's look at that passage right now, which is Matthew 25:14-30. This one's a little long, so bear with me, guys. So the parable of the talents. It is like a man about to go abroad who summoned his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, each in proportion to his ability. Then he set out on his journey. The man who had received the 5 talents promptly went and traded with them and made 5 more. The man who had received 2 made 2 more in the same way. But the man who had received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now, a long time afterwards, the master of those servants came back and went through his accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 talents came forward bringing 5 more. Sir, he said, you entrusted me with 5 talents. Here are 5 more than I have had. His master said to him, well done, good and trustworthy servant. You have shown you are trustworthy in small things. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Next, the man with the 2 talents came forward. Sir, he said, you entrusted me with 2 talents. Here are 2 more than I have had. His master said to him, well done, good and trustworthy servant. You have shown you are trustworthy in small things. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Last came forward the man who had the single talent. Sir, he said, I have heard you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathered where you have not scattered. So I was afraid, and I went off and hid your talent in the ground. Here it is yours, you have it back. But his master answered him, you wicked and lazy servant. So you knew that I reaped where I have not sown and gathered where I have not scattered. Well then, you should have deposited my money with the banker, and on my return I would have got my money back with interest. So now take the talent from him and give it to the man who had the 10 talents. For to anyone who has will be given more, and he will have more than enough. But anyone who has not will be deprived even of what he has. As for this good-for-nothing servant, throw him into the darkness outside, where there will be weeping and grinding of teeth. Okay, so I know that's really long, but there is so much goodness in that parable. But essentially, God has given us all different talents, different abilities, different resources. And so what are you doing with those talents and resources? Are you being a good steward of them? God has entrusted you with these resources. So are you using them wisely? Are you actually using them, or are you just being a lazy servant, like that one that had the 1 talent and did nothing with it? Out of fear, he said he didn't do anything with it and just gave it back. Versus the other 2, which actually doubled right? Which means that they're using their resources, their talents. This is why it's so important to identify and to maximize the gifts, the abilities, the opportunities that God has entrusted to you. Point number 3 is accountability. Let's look at this passage right here, which is Luke 16:10-12. Anyone who is trustworthy in little things is trustworthy in great. Anyone who is dishonest in little things is dishonest in great. If then you are not trustworthy with money, that tainted thing, who will trust you with genuine riches? And if you are not trustworthy with what is not yours, who will give you what is your very own? So here Jesus is teaching us the importance of managing the little, right? Because if you can't even manage the little, or if you're going to be dishonest with the little, then you can't handle something bigger, something greater. No matter where you are in life, no matter how little you feel like God has given you, are you even managing what He has given you well, right? No matter the amount. Also talks about like, how do you handle worldly things like wealth and possessions and that kind of stuff? Because if you can't even be trusted with those worldly things, then you're not going to be trusted with something much greater. So I want you to start asking yourself that question. You know, what do I currently have? What talents, resources, things, money, whatever it is? What do I currently have right now? No matter how small, am I managing it properly? And if not, you need to probably get some systems, accountability in place to help you do so, because it's so important. Because if you can't manage the little, you won't be given more. Point number 4 is generosity. We should also be using our resources and the things that we have to be generous, to give to others in need. Proverbs 19:17. Whoever is kind to the poor is lending to Yahweh, who will repay him the kindness done. When you give, when you're giving to people in need, people, the poor, you are giving to God, right? And He's going to repay you for that. And so obviously, do not be generous for the wrong reasons, just to try to get something from God. Okay, that's not actually being generous. That's you treating God like a genie in a bottle. So that's not what we're saying here. But the Bible is letting you know that when you give, you are giving to God, right? That's what it said in the passage. So I'm just kind of sharing that with you because generosity is a part of being a good steward. If you're blessed, you should be a blessing to others as well. So the last point that I want to make about stewardship is that there's an eternal aspect to it as well, right? It's not just about material and possessions. Let's look at Matthew 6:19-20. Do not store up treasures for yourself on earth, where moth and woodworm destroy them and thieves can break in and steal. But store up treasures for yourselves in heaven, where neither moth nor woodworm destroy them and thieves cannot break in and steal. For whatever your treasure is, there will your heart be too. It is more important to invest in people, in relationships, and really pushing God's kingdom out there. Right? These are the things that you want to focus on more than just worldly wealth and things of that nature. If you are looking to run a business God's way, then at the end of the day, it's all about prioritizing people over profits. Okay? We all have a purpose on here, and it is to push forward God's kingdom ultimately, right? And so we need to prioritize that because that has eternal effect. Right? Whereas this worldly things, they're all temporal. But these decisions that we make, they affect our eternity. So that's going to wrap up my topic about stewardship. Ultimately, guys, we need to remember that God is the owner. We are the managers. We are here to manage and steward all the resources and the things and the people and everything that He's given us, right? He is our provider of everything. And so we are here to steward those things. And so I hope you guys took something away from this video. Let's go into the question of the week. And the question is, have you been a good steward of the things that God has provided you? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys got some value from this video, definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.